Okay, so the beginning of this journey, well, I guess it was before my time, not before my time, but before I knew Stephen. So, um, Stephen has had an autoimmune called interstitial cystitis. I don't. This feels weird a little bit that I'm telling you, but there's a reason. Since he was 17, interstitial cystitis, which is basically an inflammation autoimmune of the bladder. So it's imagine paper cuts, cysts, all those things. As your bladder expands, that feels really bad.
Lots of pain throughout my life. I've had it for uh, over 10 years, and yeah, just lots of battling of chronic pain. It was extremely uncomfortable with not a lot of solutions.
So, yeah. So the reason we're smiling is because there's hope. Okay, so um, we after we had gotten married, we had Mariah, and we went to Pittsburgh for seminary for him. And while we were there, he started having another flare up. I had just had Hannah, and that summer after she was born, so she was almost 1. He had such a flare up that he was basically on the couch when he'd come home from either classes or from his different chaplaincy programs he was doing. But he would have to take extensions a lot of times and just having a lot of health issues. But anyway, what ended up happening for me is I ended up being the primary caregiver of not just our 2 little girls, but also of him. Because he would be on the couch, and then he would, after he had been on the couch, he'd go upstairs to take a shower or a bath for about an hour or 2 so that the pain would be enough that he could actually sleep. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even from the beginning of our marriage, before we had kids, we were talking about myself going on disability and different things like that. And so it's been a long journey for us. And I had seen several different doctors for this area, and they had sent me to different things for trying to help with different techniques. So I've been seeing chiropractors and naturopaths and acupuncturists and massage therapists and all kinds of things, just trying to help with managing chronic pain. And so when we were in Pittsburgh, the naturopath there was kind of our first step into beginning to find some real answers into things. And so the reason why we were shooting here in the kitchen is this is kind of some of the things that we started learning. You see right up here we have our microwave, which we only use the fan on it. We've never turned it on in this house. And that's something that we just don't use, and the reason why we don't use a microwave is because of the fact that it destroys the enzymes in your food. If you're putting any kind of live foods in there, it destroys and breaks down the enzymes in it. So you're turning, if it's good food, basically into junk food. Also learning the damage of EMF radiation to your body that we're constantly bombarded with, and the microwave is one of your biggest culprits in your house for that. And that was a big thing that our naturopath was really focused in on and trying to help eliminate things in the hope and providing helpful and hopeful solutions for those things. And so we focused in on trying to eliminate things that were destroying our foods and things that were causing harm to our body and increasing toxins like the microwave, and then focusing in on trying to get better supplementation to just support overall health and wellness. And I started having full night's sleep that I hadn't had pretty much over the course of my entire time with my chronic illness after adding in good supplementation. Also began managing stress, as I am someone who has struggled a lot with various forms of stress. We'll talk a little bit about that more later. And also began to have less reactions to allergens in having organically sourced foods and using enzyme supplements in order to help process those foods and eliminating those bad reactions. So those were just a few things that gave me hope and added a little bit more normalcy to my life, and kind of helped open up some possibilities for the journey in eliminating toxins and adding in good nutrition and supplementation.
And one of the stories that happened for us was when we started. Our oldest daughter, Mariah, she has struggled with something called cyclical vomiting, and we didn't have any idea what it was from. We started researching, looking up like what has caused it, and we found out that every time that she had gluten, she would feel kind of sick that day, and the next morning she would throw up, like every time. So we started looking into not just organic food, but also food that was either low in gluten or just changing things out. So all-purpose flour was out of her house. Even whole grain flour was not good enough for her a lot of times. So we ended up switching to the old grain called einkorn. and that has been huge. Like her whole attitude changed.
She's a
And
different girl since we got rid of the gluten.
yeah, so she's been loving that, and now she's always asking for all the einkorn stuff.
So our questions for you at the end of this part is, what junk food is irresistible to you? What's that junk food that you just can't say no to when you come across it? And then, what has kept you from buying quality foods for supporting your health and wellness? What have been the obstacles for you for not choosing to buy quality foods?